that
Yeah,
one. I've
it
seen
already-
it, I've never been there. Yeah.
Seems like there's this
South of.
in the general 99%. That's pretty.
We used to drive, walk in that road. Yeah. So 48 hours, that was on the other night, talked about that girl somewhere that they murdered. That was great. I would take, was that 43? I'd take 43 south and go to some place called Choice. Okay, right. And on my way to see my mom and dad, and they were, I'm like, oh my God.
I know.
Right.
Yeah, we used to be able to say, I don't know, it's
Incredible. Yeah, it was.
They're
They
moving in
They moved,
closer.
that guy grew up 5 miles from where mom and dad were. And his vocation, yeah. Creepy.
No.
No.
We'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Ms. Engel, if you do the roll call, please. Mr. Phillips informed us earlier in the day that he had something come up, so I'm not expecting him to go ahead and do roll call, please.
Terry Engel here. Amy Erke. Here. Aaron Phillips is absent. Rich Mueller.
Here.
Lauren Shainrock.
Here.
Pat Tyre. Here. And Rick Schultz.
Here. Thank you. We have an agenda in front of us. Any additions or corrections, Mr. Myhock?
Not an addition and not a correction, but a revision that due to the, is that a word game?
Right.
I didn't make a mistake.
Excuse me, neither did I.
Just due to our current postings that we have, and the closing date being later this week, and the fact that we have until our June board meeting to finalize this, I'm asking that we remove asking that we would remove the non-renewal of the probationary teacher that's listed under number 11A.
So noted. All right, thank you for that update. With that, I would entertain a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Mueller, seconded by Ms. Erke to approve the agenda as presented. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Moving on, any public comments this evening?
None.
Okay, thank you. That'll take us right into the superintendent's report. Mr. Mayock, please.
I will start with our admin team here. Mr. Kopetsky is ill and could not make it today, so we can jump into his Mr. Berg next on the slides.
Well, two kids up here. I talked last meeting about the bracket challenge I had with the kids and the staff. We had over 250 brackets in between the men's and the women's tournament, and they're actually about equal, about 125 on each, so it's pretty neat. You know, that's a lot of participation. It's not 100% by any means, but we had a lot of kids participate. It actually brought up the goal of it again was to have a conversation with the kid maybe you didn't. Okay, we had some more contact than we typically would, so very successful. We're in the spring activities. The junior high student ambassadors had a hygiene drive that was won by the 6th graders, and I forget the exact number. Was it 112 product or something? It was close. So we donated a lot of hygiene products to Brooke for school, for students who need them. Finished the ACT. We are still going with the MCAs. Last Tuesday, we had South Point Budget City for all of our juniors. Mr. Schoenrock, you were here, correct?
Yep.
I saw you. I only got to stop in a minute because I was subbing, but basically it's a similarity to understand how to budget or what life is like. You know, when you have to buy a house and you can't just buy all these pickups and go on vacations and all this. You know, it's real life, so you get a little bit to learn there. That was very well received by them. On Saturday, we've got the Middle School Music Festival. We've got the State FFA Convention coming up. on the 21st to the 23rd. Prom is May 4th. 7th and 8th grade Egg Day at Farm America is May 3rd, and then, as always, the pop concert is May 6th, the Monday after prom. And before the Pops concert, we have a 6/8 music concert. Questions?
Is prom becoming your favorite festival like Mr. Sear
Yeah.
always was so joyous when the...
Prom has been my favorite festival since I was in high school. So, yes.
Yeah. Good luck with that.
Are you getting a new suit?
Right.
Your high school one might be too.
Right.
All right, I'm just gonna jump into a few updates here. I'm gonna throw a lot of numbers at you, so I brought my cheat sheet just so I kept everything straight. Early childhood screening, we have the last Friday session coming up for this school year. We have 12 children scheduled to be screened, so 53 total for this school year if everybody shows up. For the aid entitlement that we get, I just wanted to mention that we did see an increase this fiscal year. In last fiscal year, for every 3-year-old we screened, we received $75. This year we're receiving $98, which is huge for that program because it's always been very underfunded. For the 4-year-olds, last year we got 50, this year it's 65. And then for 5 or 6 years old before they start kindergarten, last year it was 40, this year it's 52. And then if we end up screening anybody 30 days after they start kindergarten, last year it was $30, this year it's $39. We have our preschool graduation ceremony on Friday, May 24th. It is like super cute. So if you guys are looking for something to do, it's at 6 p.m. in the high school gym here. We have 38 kids that are graduating and moving on to kindergarten this year. For our upcoming preschool year, we had an unexpected surprise with the number of 3-year-olds that we have registered this year, to the point where we have, right now we have 16 in New Richland, 15 in Ellendale, which is more than we've had. 15 is pretty much what we're comfortable with as far as 3-year-olds go. And I haven't mailed out individual mailings to all of the preschool kids that are census eligible that have not registered yet. So according to the census for our 3-year-olds that we have, there could be 50 that I mail mailings out to, but of those kids, the ones who are registered won't get it. But that could possibly be 20 kids, 23-year-olds that I mail more stuff out to. I don't think all of them will register, but we're gonna have to get really creative with what we're gonna do with those 3-year-olds, because I'm not gonna turn anybody away. We just have to figure out how to do that. Some area community ed programs with their preschool, they do combine 3 and 4-year-olds sometimes. Now, I'd have to sit down with our preschool teachers and really look at everything. But if we did a combined 3 and 4-year-old class, it would be the older 3s and the younger 4s that combine into a class, so they're more similar in age group. But we'll see. It could happen. Maybe everybody just registered super early this year. Maybe they didn't. Who knows? But for our preschool Bridges in Kindergarten open house, it went fantastic. Our Southern Minnesota Initiative book grant that I get every year. Last year, I think I got 160 books. This year, I'm going to grab 200 books so I can hand out even more books coming up here. These next open houses. Otherwise, school age care, we're currently accepting registrations for that. I went ahead and purchased a ProCare. It's a child care management software that'll allow us to track everything electronically finally. It was a really good deal. It's $79 a month. We can have all of preschool, potentially all of preschool, all of our school age care program, where they'll clock in and out on like an iPad or some kind of computer kiosk or something like that. And then I could register preschool in that. I could do like dance classes. I could do T-ball. The sky's the limit because it's not based on how many kids are registered. It's just how many sites you have. So if I get really creative, community ed, we're small enough that it's one site. Anyway, but I'm really excited about that because our parents will finally be able to pay online with credit cards if they so choose. Otherwise, our ECFE is wrapping up next Tuesday. We do an end of the year picnic, typically at Beaver State Park. We had a really, really good turnout this year with a lot of amazing families and kids. You'll see in the picture up there, Officer Jant, right? He did a fantastic job. He came in and talked to our parents just about the safety, things to look for when you're outside, just, how to keep your kids safe, things to be aware of, trends that are out there. So he did a really good job with that, and then afterwards we went outside and had all the little kids look at the police car. Otherwise, our youth rec registrations are good. Right now we have, and I just had a couple more come in today, but last year we had a total of 110 T-ball and coach pitch kids. This year, right now we're at 113, so it's a little more. We've got more coach pitch kids this year than we did last year. Otherwise, our youth dance program, the recital is this Saturday. We have our rehearsal Friday evening. So that should be a lot of fun. When we started, we'll be finishing up the second year on dance. And when we started with 42 kids, and now we're up to 67 within 2 years. So I was kind of proud of that. We've got fantastic teachers, which really help a lot with, just promoting the program, and word of mouth has gotten out. I really don't think we'll get above 70 kids for dance, but 67 in a community this size, I'm very happy with. Competition cheer, we're changing that a little bit this upcoming season. We're still gonna have our varsity cheer team at 7th through 12th grade. And then we're starting a performance cheer team, which is 3rd through 9th grade. That one is not, those kids that register for that are not gonna end up going to any competitions. What they're gonna end up doing is, so to be in cheer gets really expensive, just with all the competitions you have to go to, the choreography, the outfits that they have. So it could run anywhere from, I don't know, on a good year, 300 all the way up to 500 if we need new uniforms and things like that. But 3rd through 9th grade, the way they're restructuring everything, it's gonna be approximately $75 per child. We're gonna reuse the choreography, tweak it for the amount of kids that register for it, and then reuse the music. And we're just going to solely have practices on Tuesdays and then just do local performances. It's not gonna be competition anymore because our middle school, and this came from the fact that our middle school numbers are really dwindling, so we're looking for a way to boost enrollment in that program. Cost is, unfortunately a deterrent. Our youth scholarships that we have, those go up to $50. So, essentially somebody could sign up for, this cheer team for $25 for, a good, 5-6 months, however long the season ends up going. But this is just a way to get more kids actively involved. So hopefully by the time they hit varsity, we still maintain, the 15 to 20 registration mark that we have for that program. That's pretty much it. Youth wrestling wrapped up its season, kind of. They're having Tuesday practices with some of the kids that have been in wrestling for a few years, just through the month of April. Otherwise, we had our 4-H came in and did a livestock quality assurance training this last Saturday morning. It's kind of quiet right now until it's boom in June. So, any questions about anything?
I got 3 follow-ups for you.
Okay.
I've been sharing with the board some information on our open enrollment and the students coming in, students leaving. I know with your kindergarten numbers for next year, we have at least 8, maybe 10 of our kindergarten students are open enrolled into the district.
Okay.
Are those common numbers? Is that high?
Honestly, I don't look at the open enrollments a whole lot, because when kids register for preschool, it doesn't matter where they're coming from. If they want to join our preschool, that's absolutely great. I had noticed that there was quite a few open enrollments, so I think that's probably more than what we normally have. And I don't know if it's just happens to be this year that we have a lot more, or, word of mouth. We're running a fantastic preschool program. Yeah. Maybe people are, seeking us out at that point, but yeah, I think it's more than we normally have.
Good, and congrats.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
The second follow-up is awesome cover.
Oh, yeah.
That's the deputy.
Yeah, I liked it. I thought, yeah.
And number 3, I know that you had a pickleball scheduled for adult,
Yes,
and you didn't have enough people sign up.
correct. So
This
these
would be a-
last, we want 12, at least 12 per pickleball session. We had, I think it was like 16 the first time, I think 15 the second time. This time we only had 4. I really didn't think we would get enough anyways, just because it's that time of year. But Lauren did a fantastic job. We had a lot of really good reviews, just from people coming in. But we're gonna continue doing that every like fallish, winter.
And I was just gonna add, this would be a nice chance to recruit members to sign up.
Oh yeah, pickleball is fun. I would go on and on about it, but I really don't know the rules for pickleball. I'll have Lauren come in next time to recruit you guys.
I was gonna say, are you looking toward our audience? Is that where you referring, directing that?
We actually had,
Skated the
I think a
entire room.
13-year-old student join. He
Really?
loved it. He absolutely loved it. And he did really good, so.
Where do you
It's for any
play?
ages. Just in the middle school
Oh, in
gym
the
down
gym.
there, Wednesday nights. Yeah. That's like the only night that's free. But yeah,
Okay, thanks.
yeah.
Well, we're still doing MCAs. This week is our biggest week for MCAs. The first week we did it, it was just the elementary, or just the secondary. Last week it was just elementary. Tomorrow it's 5 different grades at both buildings, doing it all kind of throughout the day. So I've got my 2 extensions and my cell phone number listed on everybody's piece of paper that says, if you've got a problem, call me. So we'll see how this week goes, and then it actually kind of tapers off from there. A lot of the, with that 11th grade simulation that they did, I had to do some shifting of my original calendar because they really wanted to be able to go do that activity. And so we did some shifting, and so we got 5 different grades kicking it tomorrow. So far so good. Only a couple stragglers for getting things done. We're not really, we don't give out results. It's not, we got embargoes, but I think we should, based on what I've done so far, I think we should probably see some good things coming up in August when we see those numbers, but preliminary is all I see. We've made contact with the OLA, the core people that are doing the literacy training. Finally, the state has made their contract with them. They have given me all my information that I filled out. I gave them some dates. They told me that they would contact me in the next week to solidify that so we can get that on the calendar for next year for our K-5, our pre-K-5 teachers and our K-12 SPED teachers for next year. We have a second set of approved curriculum in the elementary teachers' hands right now. It's from OpenEL. It's one of the, we had a maybe curriculum that they're looking through. We have one that's on the approved list that is OpenEL, and then in that process along the way too, 2nd and 3rd grade has decided to test out UFly, which is on the maybe, or is on the approved list for just phonics. So 2nd and 3rd grade are going to try some of that out this spring to see how they're feeling about it going forward instead of doing really great reading in their classes. We had some questions with Pelsby, made new rules about Native American continuing ed things. So we, the continuing committee and the professional development committee met and we discussed what have we done in the last 5 years for our teachers so that we can make sure we're on that cycle, that rotation of making sure everyone gets the categories they need so that when they relicense, they don't have to go elsewhere to find it. We provide all that for them. We are well on task. We're well on track. There we go. And we've even lined up. We've got a couple people already lined up for teacher workshop week to hit some of those categories. So things are working out pretty well. Any questions?
Thank you.
The only thing that I have, I'll pass this down here, Rich. The only thing that I have for this meeting is just a little bit of information, and absolutely do not mean to steal the thunder of the elementary or a couple people in particular that are working on this project, but what you're getting here is just kind of an overview of some possibilities that we're looking into. This is a inclusive playground set that is handicapped accessible, and the city of Ellendale has raised, I believe it's over $25,000 that they would donate to the school for some inclusive playground equipment. The elementary has done some fundraising, coin collecting, and different donations. And this, as you're looking at it right now, with a complete surface, a cushioned type of a surface, is like $185,000. Okay, right now we have about $35,000 of donations and funds received. But that does get us some things. In that sandy area, with the buckets and things of that sort, that can be purchased now. We have to be a little bit careful on, we don't want to put in the big equipment and then have to remove that so that they can come back and put in the groundwork. But some of these smaller pieces could be purchased right now with the funds that are available. They could be installed, and then because of their smaller size, they could be removed and for phase 2 when the groundwork would be done. So kudos to Wendy Schultz and Beth Shanerock, and to the Ellendale community group that's kind of spearheading this. That this is what they're working on, and it's not going to happen overnight. It's going to be a multi-year type of a project, but this is what they're working on for the Ellendale site. Some excitement.
Great. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Any board member comments this evening?
Just one comment is, Mr. Berg mentioned I was part of the South Point credit union program that South Central Service Co-op put on. That's a great program, really interesting to walk around. I happened to be Mr. Ficklefinger. I had the one that I pulled out a paper and, oh, you picked up a stone on the road, here's a $450 bill, but then great grandpa sent you $500 too, so it was kind of fun. Some of them wanted to see me, some of them just said, no, I don't want to talk to you, get away from me. But a very good program, and I believe this is the first year that we've had with South Point Credit Union, an excellent program. I urge to continue that. Very good.
Great. Thank you. Anyone else? If not, next regular scheduled meeting is for May 20th, and that will be over in Ellendale in May at 6:30. That moves us into the consent agenda items, and Mr. Myhawk, would you please address those?
Our regular consent agenda disclaimer states that all school board members have been provided with background information for all items listed on the consent agenda. These items will be acted upon with one vote without discussion. If a board member wants to discuss any item, it will be pulled out of the consent agenda and will be voted on separately. We appreciate and will recognize the donations that are included in this section. We have a $125 donation from Profinium for our DECA Club. We have a $200 donation from Dollar General of New Richland for hygiene products. And we have a $1,010 donation from the NRHEG PTO for our roller skating unit at the elementary. So $1,335 donated this month, bringing our year-to-date total of $69,493.73. And with that, I'd ask the board to please approve the consent agenda as it is presented.
Motion to approve the consent agenda items.
Second.
Motion made by Ms. Erke, seconded by Mr. Schoenrock to approve the consent agenda items as presented. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Moves us on to the first reading of the revised unpaid leave policy. Mr. Mayak, please.
Yeah, our one item that we have this month is the unpaid leave. And the information that I provided in the newsletters and whatnot, again, just to kind of review that we do have a current policy or procedure for unpaid leave requests. Since that procedure or policy was put into place, some changes have taken place. Many of our contracts and unions now have 5 personal days rather than 3 when the policy or procedures were first set up. The safe and sick leave versus the sick leave provisions of the past kind of play a role into that as well. So just updating this policy, but most importantly, that the policy that's in place besides those other changes, it didn't cover everything. And what I'm proposing then is I add this language that really kind of covers, I have it labeled here as unplanned, unpaid. And this policy then kind of, it does cover those types of situations where safe and sick leave has been exhausted, but safe and sick leave days are still requested, and just the procedures that we would follow when those requests come in. So with that, I would ask that you approve this first reading, which again means we're just introducing it, and then the second reading would take place in May, and then any changes or revisions to this original reading could be made, and we would act then to finalize that second reading at the May board meeting. There is something, again, I was noted that I have talked to the 3 different unions that we have, just making sure that this language doesn't move too much and get to be contract language. I'm pretty confident that it's not interfering with any contract language. I haven't heard from any of our union reps that there's concern with that part. But I would like we do have a board policy committee, and I think it'd be worthwhile to get together one time just to look at this. The one question and the one change that I would bring up would be just the excessive absenteeism language that's used, and that's pretty broad.
Yeah,
You know, what does that mean?
Yeah, what does
Right.
that mean?
So between the intent of the language and the interpretation, especially for years to come, it'd be good to get the committee together to kind of finalize or revise how this policy procedure could read, so it's more clear in understanding.
Just wanted to kind of clear up, but you've had some good information given to the board on this subject, but am I understanding it accurately that what was sufficient in days of old, I mean, are we adding more sick in with the changes to the requirements from the state? Are there more available days?
No,
Okay.
there's not more available days. There is legislation out there right now that's what I had sent in that other email as well,
Right.
saying that the banked sick leave, as we know it, has the criteria of what we used to refer to as sick leave.
Okay.
And districts across the state, us included, have that separate in this
Okay.
sick leave bank. Legislation is out there to say, now that we've moved over to safe and sick leave, which has a much broader, wider,
Definition.
usage,
Okay.
that legislation is considering changing the sick bank to a safe and sick bank. So the 5, 10, 50, 100, 150 days of banked sick leave could be 5, 10, 50, 150 banked safe and sick leave days.
Could put us in a real tough position as far as staffing consistent quality
Yep.
staff.
Yep.
Well, and so sometimes, a long time ago, people would use those days, like they knew they were retiring, so they use up a lot of their banked sick days, which you know, when we're at the place we are now, when you can't get subs, that's,
Yeah.
it kind of puts you in a pickle sometimes.
It has the potential to do, you know,
Mhm.
to put a further strain on the need for subs.
But back to this policy, this isn't changing any of that, it's, your objective here is to clear up what qualifies for.
No.
Or,
No, I'm sorry, the current policy that is in place, needs to have some revision again because of the additional personal days that
okay,
staff
all right,
members
been
have.
there, all right.
That a lot of that old policy was really kind of focused on you have 3 days.
Okay,
And if you wanted to take a 5-day vacation, you could just request 2 additional days. Well, now we have 5 personal
Yeah.
days, so you could have a 5-day vacation just using what you currently have.
okay.
The safe and sick component, again, does kind of trickle into this a little bit because of the wider range of potential uses. And so that really wasn't covered under the old policy. The new policy, that new addition just basically says that you still have X amount of safe and sick days. Absolutely, use them, you need them, you use them, that sort of thing. This new policy says you still have that, but geez, if you're using more than you're allotted, we get it. We don't want sick people to come to school. We don't want a bad situation where you have to, you know, leave a sick child at home or with your neighbor or your parent. That if you need to use those, by all means, use them. But the part that we want to kind of focus on is doing it in excess, or
Right.
using more
Right.
month after month, year after
Yes.
year. That's where it becomes a
Got
concern.
it. Thank you for clarifying.
Yeah.
I probably haven't spent enough time on the real subject of where we're at, but I know it's ever changing and it's
Yeah.
a subject in the legislation too.
So again, the recommendation is let's put this out there, let's get it, let's get the policy committee together, kind of fine tune some of the language and then bring it back to the board in May for a second reading.
Any other questions? Otherwise, I would entertain a motion to approve the first reading.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Ms. Tyre, seconded by Ms. Engel to approve the first reading of the revised unpaid leave policy as presented. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. That concludes our meeting for this evening. At this time, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Mueller, seconded by Ms. Tyre to adjourn. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Yeah.